Welcome back. This is Election Day in Israel, and many Israelis are going to the polls, braving rain and high wind to cast their ballots. The favorite is Benjamin Netanyahu, leader of the right-wing Likud party, favored to win, and after he cast his ballot, he visited hospitals. He is portraying himself as the best candidate to face threats against Israel. But surveys released over the weekend show Foreign Minister Tzipi Livni, leader of the ruling Kadima party, is closing the gap. And joining us now is Ken Weinstein. He's CEO of the Hudson Institute, a nonpartisan policy research organization. Mr. Weinstein, Israeli elections are always very interesting because no one ever actually outright wins the election. Whoever is in front when the election's over then has to cobble together some kind of a coalition. So speak to us about who you think the players are going to be after the election.
Boy, it's really hard to tell. The polls have been so incredibly close now. The question really is who's going to be the first one past the post, and it's right now it looks like it's either going to be Bibi Netanyahu and Likud, or it could be Tzipi Livni and her Kadima party. The problem is neither of those, and both of those parties are facing a tough challenge from Avigdor Lieberman and his Israel Beitenu party. So the problem is going to be Netanyahu and Livni are in some sense probably a likely coalition partner if Netanyahu wins. But if Livni wins, she may also be forced to go back to have a coalition with Netanyahu, whom she doesn't like, because the left-wing parties whom she is likely to make cause with are going to be fairly weak. That's to say the Labour Party, which used to be and was Israel's dominant political party for many years, was sort of like the Liberal Party in Canada for much of the first 4 decades of Israel's history, is now a much weakened party. Then the Meretz party also is greatly weakened going into this coalition. So it's either, depending on who wins, it's either going to be Livni is going to be in the driver's seat. If Netanyahu wins, Avigdor Lieberman could be in the driver's seat if Bibi wins. But it is very tough to tell at this stage.
Now, is this all happening because the leaders are all different this time around? Well, some of them are being recycled, but the leaders are different in this election, or has the electorate shifted to the right, as we've heard from many analysts?
I think the electorate has clearly shifted to the right. The recent war against Hamas in Gaza, also the reaction of some of the Arab citizens of Israel who announced their support for Hamas, these two factors together have caused a clear shift to the right. Labor is weaker now than it has ever been, and Kadima has now tried to become a center-left party. This was the party that was created by Ariel Sharon to include both right and left elements. To be a centrist party is now becoming more of a center-left party. So this is the electorate has clearly shifted to the right, and the question is, there are some elements, and clearly shifted also to the secular right, I should add, that the religious parties, which used to be a big part of the right-wing political coalition, are far less important. Avigdor Lieberman's party is an avowedly secularist party, wants to end the monopoly of the Israeli Orthodox rabbinate over religious affairs in the country, and so it's really quite a dynamic time in Israeli politics.
The shift to the right seems to have brought Avigdor Lieberman into play, and many people think, he's the guy who can save Israel. Other people think he's an enormous threat to stability in the Middle East, maybe anathema to a Barack Obama government, for example, in the United States. What do you make of this guy?
I think he's really quite sui generis. What he was he founded this Russian political party that had done quite well by making an ethnic appeal to Russians to try to deal with their concerns as new immigrants to Israel, and also their attempts to integrate into Israeli society. This election, he decided to do something very different, which was to create a much broader coalition that could appeal to a big swath of Israeli society. He's built an impressive electoral list that includes some actually distinguished individuals, including Danny Ayalon, the former Israeli ambassador to the United States, who's a very mainstream figure, was widely respected here in the United States, was widely respected in Israel. He is a Druze member on his parliament list. His electoral message is a tough one. He's demanding that Israeli Arabs declare their loyalty to the Jewish state, that if they want to remain Israeli citizens, they have to declare their loyalty to the Jewish state, that he will not accept a binational solution in Israel of an Arab and Israeli state together side by side. He wants to have two separate states living side by side. He's certainly a controversial figure. He was clearly much more of an irascible right-wing type earlier in his career. Which Lieberman we see at the fore going forward really sort of depends on how many votes he gets, where he is, and whether he's going to be included in some sort of a governing coalition, I suspect.
Ken Weinstein, nice talking to you, sir. Thanks for your time today.
Thank you.